Hi fans of high quality entertainment. I've been re-uploading videos from my channel ASMR Larry Graves. I think I uploaded 2 yesterday. And one of the videos I did a partial discography on David Bowie albums that I had. And since then I bought 2 or 3 more of his albums, and I've been listening to the other ones that I hadn't really listened to more. And so I thought I would just make a brand new video on my partial discography on David Bowie. And I believe I have about 20 of his studio albums. I also have some of his live albums like Stage, and there's another one that's in my car. But I just want to talk about his studio albums. So the first one I want to talk about is David Bowie, also known as Space Oddity. It had that album cover in the States. And through the years, I'd always read and even heard from people that this isn't a very good album, except for, of course, Space Oddity. And I've been listening to it. I listened to it again last night, and oh my God, I love the album. I love all of the songs on it, and I'm still getting to know it, though. So, you know, one of my big regrets in music is not becoming a huge fan of David Bowie earlier. But that being said, it's kind of fun to, you know, a lot of these albums I haven't, like, you know, like Station to Station, I never was really that familiar with it, and so it sounds so fresh to me today. And so I'm having a lot of fun checking out all of the David Bowie albums. But this one, I would give it at least a 9 out of 10. And maybe in the near future, a 10 out of 10. And these aren't in any order, because I'm always listening to them, and so they're all over the place. Black Star. This is the greatest last, I think it's even more than the Beatles Abbey Road, the greatest last album by an artist, Black Star. And I don't know what else to say. I have played this album a lot, and it's one of my all-time favorite albums. It's a 10 out of 10, folks. I bought his, some people call this his debut album, and some people consider the Space Oddity album his debut, and I think David Bowie would prefer Space Oddity, that album, to be his debut, because he wasn't a big fan of his actual first album, simply called David Bowie. And it was released the very same day as the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And I've kind of skipped through it. I know it's kind of you know, show tunes kind of a thing, but it's going to be a fun listen. In time, I will listen to the whole album and take it for what it is. But I can't really rate it yet, but it's good to have in the collection. Another album I bought in the last few weeks is Let's Dance, one of his biggest selling albums. It might be his biggest selling album, actually, at least in the States, along with Ziggy Stardust. And I love Let's Dance, I love Modern Love, China Girl, and I still need to listen to the rest of this album. I think I've listened to it maybe once. So I can't rate it yet, but there's so many great David Bowie albums that I don't give myself enough time to listen to some of his more recent albums, including Outside, which I've heard from Bowie fans is awesome. And it sounds awesome, but I just haven't taken the time to listen to it. Because I always want to play like Black Star or Ziggy Stardust, Aladdin Sane, but I do need to take time to listen to this. So I can't rate it yet. And the same goes with Earthling. And Heathen. Heathen I've actually played a couple of times, and I was very impressed with it, but I still need to play it more, you know, to appreciate the individual songs, but it sounds great. So I think I will end up loving this as much as most of his albums. Lodger. I don't love this as much as Station to Station and Low, but at the moment I love it more than his album Heroes. And especially love Red Sails, African Night Flight, Fantastic Voyage. I really, 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 really like this a lot, and I love a few of the songs also. But I still need to listen to it more. But at the moment, I would give it a 8 out of 10. This is, along with Let's Dance, probably his most well-known, best-selling album, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. I've always loved it, but I've never completely connected with it until last night. And I'm starting to think Rock and Roll Suicide might be one of the greatest closing tracks on any album, at least in the top 10. And this whole album is just perfect. It is a 10 out of 10. And props to all of his band members. That's the other thing about David Bowie, is all through the years, he's always had the greatest musicians on his albums. And Mick Ronson on guitar, what a talent he was. 10 out of 10. Heroes. The song Heroes is, of course, one of David Bowie's greatest songs. And the second part of this, I believe, is just mainly instrumentals, kind of like the second part of Low. And so I haven't really listened to that. But the first part of Heroes, the album, side one, I find, I don't know, the production, it's abrasive. It's, I don't know if it's the loudness wars or what, but it kind of hurts the ears sometimes to listen to it on the headphones. And this is the remastered version. But that being said, I really, well, V2 Schneider is cool. Beauty and the Beast. It's just really different. It's going to take a while for me to really soak this one in. And so at the moment, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. But I know I will end up loving it more and more. I listened to this again last night, Aladdin Sane. What a great follow-up to Ziggy Stardust. I think it's as good as Ziggy Stardust. Sometimes I think it's better than Ziggy Stardust. And a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I don't know how this happened, but it's torn. David Bowie, the next day. I bought this when it came out. I loved it. The thing is, this is my issue with Lou Reed's Loaded album, the Velvet Underground Loaded. The first 3 or 4 songs are just incredible. I love them so much. And the same with this. But I haven't really listened to the rest of the album. Let me know out there, you know, the other songs after, I'd say that The Stars Are Out Tonight, the first 3 songs. I don't know these songs yet. And the bonus tracks, this comes with the bonus tracks, So She, Plan, and I'll Take You There. So somebody out there, let me know about the whole album. I will listen to it all, and I know I'll love it. So right now, I can't really rate it, because I've only listened to the first 3 songs over and over and over. This album is much better than I thought it would be. I actually, I had some of these albums in the 70s on vinyl and all that, and I would enjoy them, but I just never, completely got into David Bowie. But Young Americans sounds great, and I still need to listen to it more. So I can't rate it yet. But it would, at the moment, it would be at least I think an 8 out of 10. Bowie Pinups. I haven't really listened to this enough. I know it's not one of his most loved albums. It's songs, cover versions of different songs. And I've listened to it once, twice, and it's good, but I don't think it's one of his better releases. But I got to give it more time. This album, oh my God, I had this album on vinyl in the 70s. I just never completely got into it, and now I think it is way up there. Diamond Dogs, oh my God, and his vocals on it. I'm still getting to know the songs. Last night I listened to this again, and Rock and Roll With Me and We Are the Dead is just incredible, and huge fan of this album. And I'll give it a 10 out of 10 because I love it so much already, and I'm still, getting to know all of the songs individually. Oh, this is a good one. Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Love it. One of my all-time favorite David Bowie songs, Teenage Wildlife. Possibly my favorite. Up the Hill Backwards. I just love all of these songs. I never was a fan of Fashion, when it was a hit back in the 80s or 70s or whatever. But I love this album. I love it, love it, love it. It's a 10 out of 10. See how serious I am? This one, I've always liked it, and now I love it. The Man Who Sold the World. If you like early Black Sabbath, Master of Reality, Paranoid, all of those albums, this sucker, the music, sometimes I would close my eyes and fall asleep. And other times I would close my eyes and listen to this and think, is that Tony Iommi on guitar? And Bill Ward on drums? And Geezer Butler on bass? Because sometimes the music is as heavy as early Black Sabbath. It is incredible. In fact, most of this album is heavy rock. And I absolutely love it. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. And of course it also has The Man Who Sold the World. There are times, I'm serious, there are times I think this guy is my all-time favorite artist, beyond Paul McCartney. Even once in a while I think he's as great or even greater than the Beatles. Station to Station, which he doesn't even remember recording because he was doing so much cocaine back in the day. But it is a great album, and it is a 10 out of 10. I played this many, many times. The same with this. When I see each of these individual albums, it's like, oh my God, that's his greatest album. And then I see another one, it's like, oh my God, that's his greatest album. Low. I'm speechless. And I love the instrumentals. And that's why the Heroes instrumentals, I know in time I'm going to absolutely love them and appreciate them, but it's just so much to take in. And right now, Low is my favorite album until I go on to the next one. 10 out of 10. And finally, viewers from my other David Bowie album, like on my ASMR channel, they said, keep listening to it, you're going to love it. And I have. The final album, Hunky-Dory. His vocals, it's haunting. Some of the tracks, for instance, Quicksand, Kooks, of course Life on Mars, the Boulay Brothers, that is such a amazing track. And Queen Bitch, one of my all-time favorite David Bowie songs. That's it. That's all. I don't think I'm missing any, when I do these, sometimes I'm missing on an album or two, but there are still, of course, other David Bowie albums I need to buy. But for now, I'm very content with what I have. I still need to listen to it a lot more. For you David Bowie fans out there, I'd really appreciate it if you tell me about some of these albums, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'll shut up now. Bye.